Hello, I want to go over today on how to work with your 3D mosaic. I have some glass right here. I have a couple different things that we could apply onto. Remember, anything that's round-like, you want to be, you want to do your best job to make sure that it can be round, but try to make sure that it's wide. If you have a really small cylinder that goes up, the glass that you end up using does have to be pretty small. Otherwise, the contact that is made with that isn't very much. Okay, so do think about that. Also, by this point, you should already know that when you use stained glass, you want to use more of the cathedral glass. I'll say the back. Sorry, the opalescent glass. Because remember, the opalescent is the stuff that you can't see through. The cathedral is like transparent or semi-transparent. So you want to kind of do your best job to stick with the ones that are that you can't see through as much. You should already also have most of your glass already cut up in small pieces, so it's easier for you to, and let's just say quicker, for you to actually also work. So let's grab a few pieces here. So I have something that's already kind of mixed up. Now there's different things that you can use to attach your glass to whatever you decide you want to do. And I also have this bowling ball here as well that you can get. If you did want to do a bowling ball, that's kind of a common, almost like a fad thing that was for a little while. I know Pioneer Lanes usually does have some bad bowling balls that's usually pretty easy for us to get some if you do want that. I also have several of these large egg-shaped ceramic things. The big thing is you want to make sure there's no flex in that, otherwise things have a tendency to pop off. So again, I have these I can play around with. This is called Thinset. Thinset is usually the primary way of doing mosaics because they can handle getting wet and be able to keep things stuck on there. We also have glues like Weld Bond. This is another product that you can use if you want to. And lastly, you can actually use this caulk gun where it's called liquid nails. It's just another type of adhesive. So we do have some options, of which I'm mainly going to be kind of talking about this one and getting this one set up for your product. You want to prep your surface. You can either paint it white, or there's a spray paint that just says primer on it, and you want to coat that with primer. It'll make your glue stick a lot better. Typical spray paint that we have in there is the paint plus the primer, but I want you to get the one just with primer that allows, again, for the things to stick. So in order to mix this, you want to keep the stuff relatively thick. And then you're going to be applying it with one of these artist palette knives that they typically use for painting, but this will be good for this product. I'm going to take a rubber bowl here. Again, the rubber bowls are up top here. You just have to grab a smaller one with this. You don't want much water when you do this. So I'm going to add the Thinset in first. Hasn't been used in a while, so it kind of came out a little faster. And whatever you don't get around using, you got to toss. So try not to make too much. You can always make a little more. First couple times, you'll probably have to make it a few times in a class, and then you'll get an idea of how much enough lasts for one class period. I just add a little bit of water. I'm going for more of a kind of like a peanut butter consistency right now. Just add a little bit more water. Once I get it all mixed up, I'll try to bring over to the camera there so you can kind of see it. So again, try to mix up just a small amount. Small amount will go pretty far. Okay, so this is pretty good. You can see it's like that. Right now I'm thinking about those concrete mixers you get at over at Culver's or at Dairy Queen. They always kind of turn it upside down, make sure you see how thick it is. So this is what you want. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to apply it onto this surface. Anything that you don't end up using, I would wipe off at the end of class. It's not like your mosaic where your glue you can put on there and it'll settle and it'll flatten off. This would be a little more tricky. So I'm going to take the Thinset on here and I'm going to cover my area. Now this is just to kind of keep your mosaic on. You will still be putting the grout on there. We'll still go through that process. So I just want to get a thin layer on. So you don't really want to see any of the color of the primer that's underneath there. So that should be good enough. And then we're going to start taking your mosaic pieces, pressing them in place. I would still leave a little bit of a gap in every area that you're doing. Because when you mix the stuff up for your the mortar for your mosaic that you did before, it's kind of the same thing. It's going to just fill those gaps in. Like anything else, be very cautious of your edges. And if you keep this thick enough, and that's the problem with using an adhesive like this, is that this is a little on the thin side. This is a really good quality adhesive because it's good for like wood, tile, glass, foam, stone, everything else. So this is good, but it's not really meant for something to be held like this kind of thing. And not necessarily I want to do this with this anyways. So you kind of just work on an area that you feel is upright, and then you get that area done, and then you just kind of move on to the next one. But I just go around, putting this on, and really kind of pay attention to what your design was. Okay, so this is typically how you would put it on, and then you'll adjust it the best that you can. So you might not have your design drawn on here because you can't quite see it. That's kind of the downside with it. However, you can arrange it so you can take your Thinset, put it on your piece individually like this, take it, stick it on. But that way just causes a lot of problems, and it takes forever. And plus you can see that it's kind of all over the place because it's just being too thick. So best thing is apply that, attach it. I'm going to bring it up to the camera there a little bit so you can see better. Okay, so you can see the Thinset was attached to it. Everything is staying in place. It's not shifting around at all. And there you go. So hopefully you understand that. I can walk you through a little bit of it. Again, if the bell was going to ring, it's a little hard to see with the light in here, but there's a lot of extra here. I would just take, you could just take your finger and go around, try to get a little close to that edge right there, and just get everything cleaned up like that. And you can see a little better now. And just make sure it's cleaned up. So then tomorrow you would be able to kind of get in there. Get in there and be able to clean that up so you can get your mosaic done. So again, kind of work on this side and then just kind of slowly wrap around your design, and just be flexible with it because you're not going to be able to follow a line as easily when you did your mosaic. So other than that, there you go, and just good luck on your project. Thanks.